Welcome back to the Self Centered Leo Shit Podcast. I'm your host, Wish Bang, and this is episode 15. Understand, these are just my thoughts and my views. This is just how I feel. It is okay to agree to disagree. Take it with a grain of salt. You do not have to hang on my every word. We all here for a good time, not a long time. So sit back and enjoy. Beyonce's here. Beyonce gave Atlanta 4 nights. 4 nights. The running joke is, as much as Beyonce's from Houston, she loves Atlanta. And I must say, you might be right. But you niggas that stole from Beyonce while she was here, you niggas right there, that's the shit that fucks cities up. And I hope when they catch this person, they discover that they're not born and raised in Atlanta. Or if they're from Atlanta, you'll discover that they're one of them Atlanta dudes that's trying to be like somebody from somewhere else. Because Southern hospitality is real. And Atlanta knows how to behave a little bit better than that. These new YNs, oh my God. Y'all really out here wilding. Like, what the fuck? Who is birthing these niggas? Like, who is creating these ruthless spawns that are running the streets? This shit must stop. It's crazy. It's out of control. And at the rate this government is going, y'all niggas gonna end up in El Salvador or South Sudan. So pick who you want to be. Because you can either get your shit together and focus on making a life for yourself and being an actual decent person, or you could keep throwing yourself into the fire until you get burnt up. Because they're looking for any reason to snatch up black bodies and get rid of them. And when y'all give them reasons to do that, it defeats the entire purpose of everything that everyone before you has fought for. So I know YNs don't give a damn about nothing, but parents of YNs, snatch your kids up. Go get them kids. Put them in a program. And if you can't put them in a program, put them in a mental hospital so they can get the help they need. Because something ain't right. Okay? I mean, I ain't even doing it. I was talking about Beyonce, but I was just so irritated when I heard that someone stole something from one of her SUVs. It's not becoming of the Black Mecca. We don't do that shit here. We don't do shit like that in Atlanta. Have some decorum. And I just want to point out how far we have strayed away from our it takes a village mentality. And it's just like community used to be able to discipline children. You used to be able to see children outside doing something they're not supposed to be doing and tell them, hey, I'm going to tell your mama, or I know your mama, you need to cut it out, take your ass home. And that used to mean something. Nowadays, these kids have parents that co-sign their dumb shit. So when you tell a child, hey, you need to relax, I'm about to go tell your mama, they looking like she know or he know. Like, they drop them off to do these things. They support the dumb shit because these kids are bringing home things to their parents. They're buying them stuff. I'm stealing from this store, but I'm going to bring my mama a bag or some shoes so she's happy with it. It's like, what the fuck, bro? If I said it once, I'm going to say it twice because I'm going to say this every single time. Get some therapy. Get some counseling. Get some sort of outside perspective on what's going on, or do some research on yourself and get to know yourself better in a healthy way. But do something to help your children's brains as they develop. Because these children, their mind is developing and they're developing on their own. They have no guidance. They have no education. They have no life lessons that are helping them navigate. So they're just making it up as they go along. They're doing dumb shit because no one is saying, hey, stop doing dumb shit. Or not just that, it's just your environment. You're not being raised in an environment that's showing you, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. And guess what? When you have a child who cannot adhere to the common laws of the land and, can't be a productive member of society, maybe now it's time to look into something more internal. Maybe now is the time to consult with a doctor and see if there's maybe a chemical imbalance going on. Maybe there's something undiagnosed going on with your child that is making them unable to learn or unable to grasp the information that they're receiving. But there has to be a reason why these young adults or these young people are choosing to do some of the most dangerous and outlandish things. Even the bottle boys, or what they call them, bottle boys, they're snatching things out of people's cars. Like, you out here trying to make money as a business, quote unquote, right? You making money. You're a businessman. You're selling a bottle of water. If someone is attempting to buy your bottle of water and your response is, I'm going to snatch your phone or I'm going to steal your money, how can you run an efficient business that way? What kind of businessman are you if you're stealing from your customer? You'll never have another customer in life. So it's just like, we can see that these children need development and they need a lot of guidance in order for them to get where they need to go. And as a parent of teenagers, I just had to learn how to communicate with my children at their level while still maintaining the fact that I am the parent. I am the one in charge of your well-being. Therefore, I am going to guide you to the best of my ability. And when there are times when I am not, my guidance might be too strict or harsh, or it comes off too aggressive, my children tell me, because I give them the space to have a voice so they can share their opinions. So if I'm doing something that's a little too rough and my kids are like, all right, now, come on now, you're acting like a warden, you need to relax, then I'm going to have to check myself, because that's the whole purpose of developing and molding minds, is being able to communicate, teach them how to communicate, and so on and so forth. So I say that to say, I don't blame children that are still in the developmental stage of their lives for the choices that they make solely. I want to put some of that blame back on the parents who are responsible for these teenagers and who are responsible for their care. So if you realize that your child's mental health is not the best, that is on you to go out and find the best doctor, the best counselor, the best care for that child, because that child is your responsibility. They are going to grow up and be adults in society. And whether they're good or bad, it is going to come back on you as a parent, because if you saw signs of inconsistencies in their development, that was your time to fill in those gaps with what they needed. So I'm off my soapbox. I'm just saying, it was very disheartening to hear that someone would break into a car, bomb that one of Beyonce's entourage vehicles, and steal from her, considering how much she does love our city, how much love she shows to our city every time. And I just think that as the city, as a collective, we shouldn't let shit like that happen here. We should not let shit like that go down in Atlanta. Atlanta is so important. Atlanta is so special, and we should not allow people to come here and destroy the reputation that Atlanta has built for herself around the world. And that includes the scammers and the people that are coming here with this false pretense that everybody's a celebrity. Everybody is not a celebrity in Atlanta. Atlanta is if you go back to the history of Atlanta and understand and see how hard Black people work to build Atlanta to what it is, it's embarrassing to see what direction we've gone in over the last, I want to say, at least 25 years. And it's just like, let's work on making Atlanta the Southern hospitality home of the brave that it's always been, because all this ghetto shit that's going on, it just does not reflect what Atlanta is. Like, oh my God, people used to come to Atlanta and want to move to Atlanta because that's the type of vibe Atlanta gives. Now people are coming to Atlanta thinking that they can come here and scam and get a G-Wagon, or scam and get a Lamborghini truck. And it's like, no, that is not what Atlanta is about. Please get some business about yourself, okay? Anyway, I had something else to talk about, but I wanted to bring this up because I see that it's trending again on social media. And it was Dr. Cheyenne Bryant made a comment saying she's 42 and women should wait. Hold on, let me see if I can run this back. And so this is why I always say to people, I'm 42 and I'm not married with, if you have kids, and who is getting the short end of the stick? Those babies. Absolutely. And so this is why I always say to people, I'm 42 and I'm not married with any kids yet. I'm ready now. But I wanted to purposely wait till I was educated, until I had my career. I wanted to wait until I was economically stable enough to provide a life for
my children and choose a man from not a perfect place, but a healthy place. So that I can say I'm not only choosing a husband, but I'm choosing a father for my kids before I even, procreate with this man. A lot of folks who do marriage early are choosing codependently a partner who can satisfy their trauma in that space. If you have
And see, that's where I disagree. I disagree with the idea that because you marry early, you're trying to satisfy a trauma in that space. Some people find their person very early in life. There are people who have been dating since they were in middle school because they found their person early in life. There's this big misconception that in order to live life, it means you have to date 100 people to gain life experience through all these different romantic encounters. And it's like, you do know that you can communicate with 100 people without dating them and still understand people and how they operate romantically without it being romantic to you. Because ultimately, the person that's going to be with you, that you choose, that chooses you, is going to like you, flaws and all. So the idea that you need to run through a list or different walks of men or women to find the right person, I think that comes from a place of trauma. I believe that is a trauma reaction to dating based on maybe childhood or maybe based on what you saw growing up between your parents or between an aunt and uncle. But I feel like if you find your person, you can find them in as early as when you guys are in middle school. You find your person in high school. You find your person in college. I think when you find your person, it doesn't matter what you have going on in your life or what stage you're at in your life. You and your person figure out how to navigate life together. You figure out how to get what you need together. And so, encouraging young women to wait until they're educated or wait until they're financially stable. You can be financially stable and educated and still make terrible choices and still date the wrong people and still choose horrible partners in life. What you want to be is you want to be centered within yourself. You want to be happy with yourself. So you're not outward looking for love. You want to look for someone who has the same spiritual and emotional capacity as you, if not better. You want someone who's a communicator, someone who's willing to do what is necessary to build a strong foundation for you and the family that you create. That's what you want. This myth or this idea that there's just one way to do it doesn't make any sense. Being a 42-year-old, unmarried, no children, and is ready to start building a life now, it's not impossible. It just makes it a little bit harder going forward. Because if we're being realistic, you have a baby at, say, it takes her to 45. So now she's 45 and she's having her first child at 45. When that baby's 10, she's 55. When that baby's 20, she's 65. And so on. And for me, maybe because I had my children young, I'm 40 years old right now. I'm going to be 41. And I'm tired. I couldn't imagine having to get up and deal with a newborn baby right now. Oh my goodness. So I couldn't imagine having to try to give birth in my 40s. It's just more work. It's more risk. It takes more out of you. And I've seen over 40 moms. A lot of them struggle with connecting to the babies. A lot of them struggle with understanding how to take care of toddlers. They're talking to them like they're adults because it's just easier. And it's like, you rob your children. You rob them when you have these geriatric pregnancies. You do. And not to say that, you won't love them. Of course you love them. But it's hard for them. And any child with a parent that was over the age of 40, 50, or 60 when they were born will tell you that they do not wish it on anyone else because it is a rough ride. And no one will ever say it was easy. No, it's not easy to choose a person when you're young and stick it out with them, because life happens, things happen, and you guys have to figure out how to navigate all these things together. You can't just up and leave because you're mad. You can't just up and leave because you're tired. No. And a lot of it is just growing pains. Because as you mature, things change within you as well. So 25-year-old you is not the same as 20-year-old you. 30 you is definitely not the same as 20-year-old you, and so on. So I think that everyone should really consider just focusing on yourself, focusing on building your confidence, building your communication skills. In this way, when you do find your partner, you're equipped with the tools needed to contribute something to the relationship. And we see a lot of women now posting stuff on social media saying, oh my God, I've been dating the wrong guy all these years. And the one guy that actually wanted me has been in my DMs for 5 years. And I finally gave him a chance, and it's been the best chance of my life. He might not be this and he might not be that, but he's a good man to me. And it's like, so you spent all your life waiting for a perfect man or waiting for the perfect situation because you are unwilling to compromise. You are unwilling to meet someone where they were at. You are unwilling to evolve within yourself to understand that maybe it's you. Maybe you are the difficult person in the situation that is trying to wait on a fairy tale that doesn't exist. And no, marriage is not the final level. Marriage is not the end all be all. But we are humans, and companionship is important to us. And if you're going to be with someone only because having children after 30 is hard, having children after 35 is hard, having children over 40 is hardest, right? And so when you have a child that late in life, to you it sounds grand, but to that child, you rob them of so many things that you could have given them had you given them time. Because money is great. Being financially stable is wonderful, but time you cannot get back. So there's plenty of people who probably had older parents who died and left them money, but they had no time. I know a young lady who both her parents passed away young. While she was well under 40, she had no time with them. So they left her money, great, but she had no time with her parents. And it's just like they were older parents, much older. So before she turned 40, they were already sick, health ailing, and then they were gone. So we're not being realistic when we send this message to young women that says, I'm not saying young girls go out there and find any old man or find the first man that'll take care of you or find the first. No, go out there and live your life. If you want to go to college, because the whole notion that, what do you mean by educated? Because there's a lot of people who don't feel like college is for them. And so they use their skill set that they've acquired along the way to build businesses, to build stability for themselves. So I don't know what she meant by educated. I don't know if she meant actually having a degree or just having something for yourself. But either way, it just seems like, just like people say college ain't for them, some people gonna say marriage ain't for them. Some people gonna say kids ain't for them. And I think that's the real wake up call is maybe some people ain't meant to be married. Maybe some people aren't meant to be parents, because you might think that you're sound in mind. You might think that because you're financially stable, that'll just automatically make you a great parent. And most of the time, that is what makes people horrible parents. because you think there's a script, or you think there's a formula for raising children, or you think there's a correct way to do something, and there's not. There's no right or wrong way to raise children, as far as there's no list that you can go down and say, okay, I followed this, I did that. None of that shit matters when you have kids. Because first of all, that child is coming to this earth with a brain and free will. And they're going to want to do things the way they want to do things. You're going to have to spend your life negotiating with a child on terms where it says, okay, boom, I'm the parent, you're the child. Listen to me because I have your best interest at heart. A lot of parents don't connect with their children because they think just because they're educated and they're financially stable that the child should just listen and do what they want them to do. And a lot of times that backfires. So some of the most successful people have some of the most traumatized and damaged children because their people skills suck. Their communication skills are terrible. And so we have to be very mindful as people who have lived a little bit before someone, when we're reaching back to share insights and reaching back to give advice. My advice to any young person that's out there, male or female, is get familiar with yourself. Understand who you are. Understand your wants and your needs. Understand the things that upset you. Understand the things you need to work on. Focus on grounding yourself. And if you're going to, we're humans. It's in our nature to want a companion. So when you're seeking companionship, seek someone who's also willing to work on themselves and willing to acknowledge and willing to communicate and willing to, and I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to be like, oh my God, willing to compromise. Because sometimes you do have to compromise in a relationship. And that doesn't mean compromise your morals. That doesn't mean, throw what you believe out the window. That only means I'm accepting the person I'm choosing the way they are. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to control you. I'm choosing you as you are. Because when you do that, what naturally happens is your partner will change themselves. They will either evolve and become better versions of themselves so that they can be a better partner, or they can digress and not grow and be the worst partner. But these are things that you want to, these are things that you usually figure out in the early stages of your relationship. The late night conversations you have, the long walks, the long talks. That's why the dating phase is so important before you choose to be with someone for life. And there are things that you might not necessarily 100% like about your partner. And I know a lot of people who say things like, oh, I'm not going to get married because they're waiting for the perfect person, or they're waiting for, and like, that person doesn't exist. There's no such thing as the perfect partner. So you're going to have to compromise in order to build a family and to build a relationship, because there are no two people in this world who do things exactly the same way all the way through. There are going to be instances where he's going to do something you don't like and you're going to do something he doesn't like. And it may create friction. But the beauty of building bonds and relationships is being able to work through the friction and accepting your partner as they are. And again, I'm not speaking from a place of perfection. It took me almost 7 years into my marriage to truly understand a marriage. And some growth you can do on your own, and a lot of the growing is done together. And so I say all of this to say always follow your heart when it comes to decisions that affect your emotions and affect you spiritually. You have to be able to feel someone's presence even when they're not in the room to truly connect with them. So follow your feelings as far as how you feel spiritually. If spirit is telling you that this person has ill intentions, follow that. If spirit is telling you this person is the right one for you, follow that. But don't look at some of the outward things to make your decision. Oh, they have a nice job, or they have a nice car, or they're educated. All of those things matter, but ultimately, having a person who nurtures, loves, respects you, and is there for you is above all. So when you can find those things in two successful people, that is a beautiful, wonderful blessing. But you should not be limiting yourself to just a list of possibilities. Like saying, okay, if he's rich, I'll learn to love him. Girl, that backfires 9 times out of 10. And some women prefer to cry in a Bentley. Some women prefer not to cry at all. So it's just really up to you. And with that, I would say I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday. And yeah, follow your heart and decide who you want to love based on how they make you feel. How you feel when they're not in the room with you, based on how you react to the encouragement that they give you. Those are the people you want to share space with. You just don't want to share space with someone because they can provide for you. Because ultimately, everyone should be able to provide for themselves. Have a nice one. I'll see you next time.